Sorry. Okay, let me get my headset plugged in. My hair is just, it's doing its whole thing. So, sorry I didn't get a chance to update the schedule beforehand. I know I said I'd be on this morning at about 10. Unfortunately, a few things came up on very short notice. So I had to take care of that. But I'm going to be working on this. So I've got a lot of the work done, but there are some major pieces, of course, that I need to work on. And I've been using a water pen. So I've been having a really, really good time with the water pen. The water pen has been doing what I needed it to do. So I am just blocking in roughly and very lightly just kind of penciling what needs to be where. Don't know what that is exactly. Hopefully I'll be able to get most of it off. But yeah, so that disappears under there. Okay. Okay. So I've basically put in floorboards, and then beach, and then water, and then sky. So I am working on perspective. I'm still not perfect on perspective. That has been a really difficult challenge for me, and it's one of those things where you're not gonna get it like the first time usually. But for me, it's been exceedingly difficult, and that might be because my art degree, or my degree that had art heavy focus on it, was a degree of fashion design, and they made us do flats, which is a technical flat is what is the clothing going to look like when it's been stitched together if you were to lay it flat. So it's got all the technical information on it. So they drilled us so hard on those darn things that I'm just like, everything feels like a flat. So it's like, it is what it is. But yeah, so I've put in what I needed to put in. I don't want to use like a hard line right away. So if I really need to add more as far as like a harder line, I'm going to wait till after I've put in the major colors and then go from there. And again, I love these water pens. So the brush on a water pen, the tip, is it's an artificial material. It's like a plastic, I believe. And not only is it very durable, it doesn't cling to color. It doesn't absorb color readily. So yes, while you get some discoloration and whatnot, like, color comes out of it very, very easily, very, very quickly, and you can get your brush cleaned super quick, all things considered. But yes, let us put in a division. So I'm going to put down a bit of brown, because I do want the sandy tone, sandy brown tone. Then I'm going to add a bit of yellow to really lighten it up. And I want my first tones to be kind of yellowed tones. Don't ask, I'm going to see how many times I can use that word. Blot. I love occasionally blotting. That way you can pick up color, but you can, do it in such a way that it looks more like some natural light is hitting it, and you're not like, oh wow, that's unfortunate. Floorboard's getting a bit of a treatment. Because when you're at a beach, if there is like an area that you're sitting on, it tends to be like a bamboo wood. Hey! No, it's a little bit afternoon here. So far I've actually had a decent day. I just had something come up last second, and I was like, oh shit, take care of it. Nothing like major, nothing life altering in any way. Just, it was like, oh shit, I gotta take care of this now. And I've made like leaps and bounds when it comes to this painting. How have you been doing today, dear? Hopefully you had a pretty decent day. I do need a little bit of a break. Yay! Dude, that is a win. That is a win. Now, were you keeping tabs on them, or did they contact you? Nice. That is awesome. I'm honestly, I'm very glad that you got that hoodie. And I'm very proud of you for sending that email, because I know that like sometimes being proactive can be daunting. But hey, you did the thing. Can't be mad at that. Soften up those lines a bit. Mm. Yeah, I hear you. Oh, hell yeah. Honestly, when it comes down to it, if you're going to spend money on something, it it is always wonderful and amazing to get it from a small artist or a small producer, because more often than not, you're getting better quality, you're getting better attention to detail, and you're doing so much more to help that person. And, mass production is mass production. But, like, I don't know, for some reason, like, handmade goods always seem to have a little bit more care, um, a little bit more to them. I don't know how to explain it. Like, no knock on mass production. Close the world. But, yeah, there's just something about being able to get something that's been, like, handmade. Often, I don't know, I just guess, I think small producers have their fingers on the pulse of what people actually want quite a bit more. So things tend to be a little bit more specialized, a little bit more care put into them. You know what I mean? Yeah, yeah. And honestly, in this day and age, that's what we need. Exactly. Woo! I freaking love it. I absolutely love it. So yeah, I mean, you've just managed to become even more unique, which is awesome and amazing because you are unique in like so many of the best ways possible. Oh wait, no, I don't need that color. But yours. Sorry, trying to get the color slightly more subtle. Nothing wrong with a bit of shade and shadow, but yeah, a little bit of. Oh yeah. Ooh. I love that though. That means somebody took a lot of time and effort and made some art. Okay, I think I need to add the blues. I'm gonna have to mix the blues. And I think if I'm smart, I'll do the sky first and then creep back up and do what do you call it? The sea, the waves, the ocean. Yeah, honestly, that probably is a good idea. Is to wash it cold with like half a cup of vinegar. The vinegar helps to lock in the color and also wick away the excess color. So yes, I'm in agreement with you. Oh, yes, right. Details, little details. Okay. Hey, how you doing? It's the English crew is on today. Sorry I wasn't on earlier. Just had to take care of some stuff. And I'm laying in the what do you call it, the background. Because I'm actually really happy where this is at. And so I think I'm gonna add I'm gonna add the sky and the ocean. I'm also trying to keep it at an angle where I can see if you guys are talking. But yeah, today I am using water brush. And I've been using the water brush for this one, and I'm really enjoying the results that I'm getting out of it, and I'm finding it easier to manipulate the colors when I need to. So we're gonna start with the blue. And the blue needs to be like super washed down. Like can't be bold. Cannot be bold. And this is a very bold blue. Like, no, do not need the aggressive coloring. I'm gonna give it. Okay. And the whole thing about the sky is like, sometimes you don't always notice the clouds in the sky because they tend to be kind of white, so they're kind of washed out. I'm doing my best not to just saturate the sky in a single even color or tone. I'm reminding myself it's okay to have white. It's okay to have gaps and unevenness because that's normal. That's what a normal sky looks like. Yeah, that's freaking terrifying. And it's true, and I find it funny that he thinks that he can postpone the elections when it's literally in the Constitution that the president cannot do that. And not only can he not do that as the president, when January 20th hits, if he somehow pulls this bullshit off, when January 20th hits, Pelosi, I believe the Speaker of the House, she takes over the job of the president if no election has taken place. So, yeah, it's honestly more than just mildly terrifying over here, to say the least. The crazy unrest, the everything that is going on. It's like, and it's sort of funny for me to see friends come back and now say, oh, holy crap, I owe you a Coke. I thought you were being overly aggressive or overly paranoid about stuff going on. And, like, part of me is just, it's not that I want to say, I told you so. It's the, why didn't you believe me? Of the people you know, I am not a conspiracy theorist. I go with hard facts and science, and, I look at a lot of information. Now, sometimes, yes, I get ahead of myself. I do, and I tend to apologize for those. But, like, I don't buy conspiracy theories at all. But when I tell you that an abuser is going to do this kind of abusive thing, And I can spot that abusive thing because A, I've lived through a lot of abuse, but also B, I'm a woman, I am queer, and I am a person of color. And this has been going on my entire life. And it's like, I'm not the only one saying this. Like, a large portion of the community, of the black community, of the queer community, are saying, yeah, this looks bad. We've seen this happen before. And literally, you can go back through our history and find, dozens of instances of this kind of thing happening. If we go, ooh, we've seen this happen before. We know what's going to come. This is where they're aiming for. This is what they're heading towards. And you go, nah, you don't know what you're talking about. And then when it happens, you're like, oh my god, I could have never seen this. And you're like, bullshit, you couldn't have seen it. I told you. I literally freaking told you, and you brushed it off because you thought you knew better and that I was being overreactive and, oh, silly girl or silly black person. No, they can't do that. They won't do that. I'm like, there's so much privilege in somebody coming at me and going, oh, no, you silly creature. You don't know what you're talking about. They would never do that to us. I'm like, you're thinking they won't ever do it to usually Caucasian people. You're thinking that they won't do it to middle and upper class people, which means you're okay with them doing it to people of color, and you're okay with them doing it to minority groups, and you're okay with them doing it to the poor and lower class. Yeah, no. No. Like, I think the clearest example of this is the police state. And like, oh yeah, they are ramping up for like a martial law or police state style takeover. And, they're gonna be shipping in troops and yeah, this is gonna go bad. It's gonna go bad real quick. And they're like, nah, you're just being overreactive. And then we see Portland, Oregon, and they're like, holy shit. I'm like, yeah, who could have ever seen this coming? And like, the note that I made was, you ignored it when it was happening in poor areas, and you ignored when it happened in areas that were predominantly people of color. Portland, Oregon is very heavily Caucasian and middle class, maybe even upper class at points, but definitely heavily middle class. And you're surprised. And I'm like, no, they already did their test runs, and y'all didn't say boo. You didn't have a reaction. You didn't get incensed or really outraged. You didn't throw a fit then. Of course they thought they could continue to get away with this, because they did the test run and you didn't have a reaction. That's the whole reason they do these test runs. It's not that they start at that level, it's that they slowly build up to that level, and they're gauging reaction the whole time. Now, if they had done this in, say, Flint, Michigan, or another place that was predominantly poor, or predominantly people of color, and, suddenly you had, like, a huge amount of the white population trained with leaf blowers, and, moms with crash helmets, and veterans, and, like, if you suddenly had a metric shit ton of new protesters showing up, throwing down, and protecting the poor and people of color, you probably wouldn't see Portland, Oregon right now, because they would know that it was a horribly bad idea, and that people would show up and, band together and be one, which trying to fight a people's army, as it were, is exceedingly difficult because not only are they not military, so there is a whole different protocol, I guess you would call it. Um, but yeah, democide is pretty much wholly condemned by the UN and any other not advanced country, any other country that has any sort of value for its citizens. Democide is highly frowned upon. Oh, and if you don't know what democide is when a government targets and kills or otherwise commits crimes against humanity against its own citizens. And we've seen democide happen before. Libya, great example. So Libya, Iran had some of that. Iraq had some of that. Kuwait, sort of. Although Kuwait was being invaded by Iraq. There's a whole, there's layers. But yeah, when democide happens, the UN tends to wholly condemn those actions because citizens are not armed the way a military is armed. A military has, fighter jets and nukes and high-powered weapons that are long-range that citizens can't get their hands on. So they're not on a even playing field at all. Their armor's not on a even playing field. Their weapons, their access to resources are not the same. And when the populace, the people, the average citizens, aren't trying to fight you in a we're gonna kill you kind of way, yeah, it looks really bad. It looks really bad. So, yeah, that's where we are currently. And honestly, the fact that nobody's used the 25th Amendment, I believe it is, and gone, okay, we have zero faith in your ability to actually lead this country. What you are doing is harmful, detrimental. You are not fit for duty. You are not fit for the office that you hold. Get out. So basically, Congress could put the president kind of in a timeout / fire him by using the 25th. I believe it's the 25th. I have to do a little bit more research just to make sure. But by using an amendment to the Constitution that said if you have zero faith that the president can hold their office and are competent, mentally competent, physically competent to do so, then you can remove them from power. And that's to keep somebody who is wildly mentally incompetent or unstable / disturbed from throwing us into like wars, and also to protect us in case the president is like straight up like not able to physically handle the job, like I think it was Woodrow Wilson, if I'm not mistaken. They had a massive stroke. They were deathly ill, and they were not doing good. They couldn't make decisions. So his wife secretly took over, and yeah, it wasn't figured out till much later that he was deathly ill and not actually making the decisions. And so yeah, it's like oh. So yeah, they could have used that amendment at that point in time, kind of thing. But yeah, it was to make sure shit like that didn't happen. Because if you don't actually know who's running your country, because the wife would not let Congress come in and see the president's actual conditions. So it's like, well, shit. That's all I gotta say. Yeah. Like right now, it's unsettling. It is disturbing. Oh, it's coming along so nice. I don't know why I was so scared of filling in the sky and I don't know. I think my brain saw a lot of just open space. I'm like, oh, I didn't put enough in there. I'm like, no. I put enough in there. That's just the sky. That is just the sky. That's the sky. Don't fuck with the sky. Let's see. So now we're going to put in a deeper tone. More blue. And a touch of green. So not all of the sea is green, but water that is a little bit closer to shore that has algae and seaweed in it does have a bit more of a green kind of reflection to it. As you look further and further away towards that horizon line, it gets darker because you're technically looking through more water. Okay. And then I'm going to go in with white pen, I'm going to go in with like a white pen and add like caps. So how is everybody doing? Okay. Okay, so I'm going to give this a couple minutes to dry out, or else my white pen will not work at all. I'm going to gently rest this. Actually, no, I'm not, because yesterday we had a misfire and I accidentally turned off my computer midstream like a dork. Okay, so we're going to give that a few minutes to dry out, and I'm going to find the correct pen, which, that's the pen. Now, I don't know, I can never seem to get it to work quite correctly. Don't need that. Where is, there it is. I have alcohol here. Every now and again, if you get a pen that is clogged, and just like won't do what it's supposed to do. You can dip the tip in a bit of rubbing alcohol, because rubbing alcohol is technically a solvent. So I'm trying to get the ball to roll. This is a ball style pen. I swear, like, it's only a $2 pen, but it was doing so well at the bookstore and just... I also have... Where's my other hand? I have a couple different types of white pens. Oh, sorry, I'm all up in your grill. Let's see. Oh, I was smart for once and brought it out early. Okay. So this is a brush tip pen. The reason I wanted this one is because this one is technically a little bit more opaque when it works. I have ideas. Okay. Give me a second. I gotta grab a pair of pliers. Yep, that was easy. Apparently, I can suck a golf ball through a garden hose, or vice versa. Okay. Have fun sleeping. See you later, hon. So I hate spending money and not being able to use the thing. Okay, so basically what I did was I put the ink in there, and it's gonna solidify after a while, but I can use a very fine paintbrush to do what I need to do. Sorry. Everybody's getting jostled today. Okay. Okay. Adding some like white highlights, softening up some lines just a touch. And I know it seems like, tiny ticky-tacky work, like, I'm just gonna notice it. but A, I notice it, and B, it shows up more than you would think. Lightening up these ones just a touch. Apparently somebody desperately needs my attention, but I am busy. Okay, so I think what I need to do is give this just a second to dry. I'm going to do a little bit of probably chalk on the lip and then add one more color layer for the hair. I gotta give that ink a little bit of time to dry because if I rub my hand past it and it has not dried. I have visited Oregon, Washington, Colorado, Nevada, Arizona, and New Mexico. I apparently am not made for very, very dry climates because Nevada, Arizona, and New Mexico weren't too bad. They were really, really hot and very, very dry. Colorado has some beautiful scenery and lovely weather. But so far my absolute favorite has been Washington. And it's this beautiful juxtaposition of very metropolitan, very, big city, but it is absolutely interwoven with forests and greenery and, things that are just growing. And the weather there is just, I love it. I love the weather so much. I think it's absolutely just, it's wonderful, it's gorgeous, it's lovely. I've been in the Seattle area and a couple of towns close to it, and like I love going to the Pike Street Market. It's beautiful, and like just nothing but handmade goods and small businesses. Like I don't think there's any big business per se um, being put forth as like, ooh, this is a thing to see. Oh, it's large presence. No, it's a lot of smaller, um, not quite mom and pop, but like mom and pop kind of stores. They had hot, fresh mini donuts because I guess quite some while ago somebody built a machine that you could load batter or dough into, and it would just pop out like little donuts. And there was this hot river of oil. That's the only way I can describe it. Hot river of oil. So on one side is your batter, your dough, whatever it is, and it pops out these perfect like little miniatures, and they float down this hot river of oil. And at one point there's like a little, I can't remember, it's like a little bar, a little machine that basically flips it over, uh, in a set specific amount of time. So it floats down for like a minute or so, and then this machine flips it over, so it floats down the rest of the way on the other side, and then it just gently brings it up onto this cooling rack, and the cooling rack, makes it travel along, and then the cooling rack tumbles it off on the other side, um, and then they take them and they can either put like powdered sugar over them or cinnamon and sugar, which was my absolute favorite, and then they hand you this little bag full of miniature donuts that are screaming hot. They're covered with just the right amount of like cinnamon and sugar, and they are so good. And it makes the place smell phenomenal. Absolutely amazing. Like, if for nothing else, the smell is so wonderful. And then they have tons of little uh, bars and little eateries and like just fun things, and small artists who are making jewelry, selling jewelry, painting, sculpture. Some of it is actually Native American made and sold goods, and fresh flowers, like so fresh you would swear they're still on the ground. And they can do full flower arrangements and everything for you, and just it's so vibrant and gorgeous and amazing. The last time I went there, and they are also the place that has fish hawkers. So there's an area where they sell fresh fish. I mean, so freaking fresh. Some of it's still moving. But like literally, you can go into the fish market, close your eyes, and just inhale, and you wouldn't smell the fish. That's how fresh they are. And like they're literally throwing fish back and forth. It is comedy. And they've got salmon and halibut and fresh oysters and all that kind of thing. And I think the last time I was up there, I was starting to get into one of my foodie phases. Last time I went up there, I stayed with some relatives, and had cousins take me to the Pike Street Market, and they're like, I don't know, well, what do you want to get? I mean, they're pretty worldly kids, and so it's like, well, let's check out what kind of produce they have, what kind of food they have. We'll grab a little something to eat, and then we'll go get like the grocery portion of it. And they're like, oh, okay, well, what do you want to eat? I was like, okay, because I'm thinking they're gonna take me to like McDonald's or Burger King's or fast food, and I'm like, I don't know, like, what do they have? And like, well, if you like this kind of food, it's over here. And then we do have an international building. I'm like, so you have a what now? Like, oh yeah, we have an international building. I'm thinking it was going to be like fast food from around the world kind of stuff, like quick. No, it was eateries run by mostly immigrants, and they were doing traditional food. So you could get traditional Ethiopian, you could get traditional Chinese, and you could get like, oh my god, I was just blown away at all the different little eateries they had. And then I saw pierogi. Pierogi or pierogi? Those are two different dishes, actually. But no, I saw these cute, like, little pastry buns that looked like they were just perfectly toasted, and I could tell that they were just stuffed to the gills with some sort of goodness. So I go in, and there's nobody at the counter at first, so I'm looking in the cabinets, and then something just blocks the light overhead. I had to look up and see this big, gorgeous, like 6'5" barrel-chested Russian, and just absolutely big, smile on his face. And how can I help you? It's like, hi, hi. What do you think would be the best? What would be the best food? What can you recommend? Because this all looks so delicious. It really, really did. And he was the baker, so he knew everything that was in that cabinet. And so I ended up getting like a pierogi and a couple of other things. I can't even remember how to pronounce those names anymore. But he made sure that they were nice and hot and fresh and everything, and they were so good. And oh my god, like I had never tasted like authentic Russian food before. So like my only knowledge of Russian food was borscht, which I'm not. I don't hate beets, but I wasn't like a super fan of beets. And just the ingredients in borscht was like your soup is a bright pink maroon color. I don't know, but no, he got me set up with some amazing traditional Russian food, and it was so good. They also have the original Starbucks there, and talk about a line literally around the block. And yeah, a good portion of that is tourists, but a good portion of that was people who just live there, because they do their coffee a little bit different, I think, than most of the chains of Starbucks, and their coffee is good. Coffee is really good. But yeah, I loved going to the Pike Street Market. That was my absolute favorite. And when we picked up the groceries, I mean, we got just fresh vegetables. Everything was so good, and I love it because there's so much nature just all around you, healthy nature all around you, and then it's also it intermingles its way into the city, into the industry. So you can feel like you're in the city and still have the advantages of feeling like you're in nature. And oh god, I love the the. I'm having a moment because my brain's having nostalgia on a huge level. The weather there is lovely. It rains a lot. And for some people that is not a good thing. But for me, I loved the rain. And it just, the rain encouraged all of this beautiful growth. And instead of trying to stamp out the growth that was going on, they just kind of let it merge itself in. No, we're talking giant trees of all varieties. I'm talking giant wild thistle, ivy and grasses and flowers, and like so many varieties of trees and shrubs that I couldn't honestly tell you what they were, and not all of them were the evergreens. They weren't all pine trees. So, I mean, you just got this beautiful miasma of you know, yes, some plants that people have imported to make their gardens look lovely, but most people just encourage um, the natural stuff that was there, the natural growth that was there to do its thing. Like run with it. Mm, mm, yes, yes, yeah, and that's the whole thing. Is like you have to move. And honestly, if I move, like I really want to move out on my own, have my own place when I'm financially secure. But in order to do that, I also want to find a place that I really, really love and am very comfortable in. And for me, that would be someplace like Washington. That would be someplace, maybe not Oregon. Oregon still makes me a little nervous sometimes. Just saying. But someplace like Washington, I think I could find a really good home because you don't feel like you're built on top of each other, and you feel like I could feel like there was so much freedom and art and community and people, and it was really, really great. And oh my god, so my aunt took me to a street fair, and I'm thinking like farmers market, like kind of like what we have down here, um, which I mean they're nice and all, but like I don't know, sometimes it feels just more, I want to say corporate, but it's not quite the word I'm looking for. It feels more like, okay, here's my white pop-up tent. I'm going to stay within those confines and blah, blah, blah. Up there, they used cover. They used a lot of, brightness. Sometimes it was just open air, like they didn't even have a cover over them, or they had like, a couple, like a pop-up, but with like those thin cottony blankets that have, beautiful design work and stuff on them. And it was so it was so hippy dippy, and I freaking loved it. And oh my god, I had the best quesadilla of my entire life in Washington. And it was a dried tomato tortilla, so like sun dried tomato tortilla, and they cooked up fresh vegetables. And we're talking like a little bit of onion, but we're talking like squash and like I think it was like bok choy and just like this different beautiful medley of finely chopped vegetables, and then they threw cheese over it and folded it over and made sure that it was just beautifully crisp on the outside and this gooey cheese on the inside with these well seasoned, very flavorful uh, vegetables on the inside. And my aunt's like, I'm sorry, that's such a huge portion. I'm like, yeah, so am I, but I'll take it home. I'm totally cool with taking parts of this home. And I was just, no, no. She's like, wow, you really like that thing. I'm like, you can get good food where I'm from, but I can taste the love and care and dedication in this. This is very different because normally you get a quesadilla, it's just the cheese and a plain tortilla. Like the fact that they have gone above and beyond to find different types of tortillas, because they had basil, they had dried tomato, they had your regular, they had like turmeric, like they had a bunch of different flavors for the tortillas. But also you could tell they took the love and care with the vegetables and the seasoning and the everything. I'm like, I would not, pardon, I would not have thought to put these things into this, and they did an amazing job at it. And I'm so happy. She's like, oh, okay, cool. And she's like, well, what did you think about the price point, though? And I'm like, it was a little bit more expensive, but for what they did, well worth it. And honestly, I could have spent that same amount of money in California, and it would have been rather plain. So yeah, I'm totally cool with what I got. And the people were just like friendly and a little outgoing. And okay, so I live near LA, so there's certain protocols on how friendly or how forward you are. And a lot of it is it's superficial. It's face level. It's not two faced. It's just that when I think this is we where we kind of spook a lot of Europeans, especially the English, will ask, "Hi, how are you doing? How's your day?" It's been something that's ingrained into our working class culture. So it's a nicety, it's a common courtesy, it's something we do. We're not, trust me, we're not asking for your life history. But we're making sure you're okay because we're a service industry area. So it's something that's just been really super ingrained. But yeah, there they were like, "Oh my god, how are you doing? How's your day?" And it's like, you actually want to know what my day was like. What's going on here? They're being really friendly and meaning it. What's going on? But yeah. Yeah, it's okay for people to move on, especially if, or you know, it's okay for anybody to move forward or to move on, especially when they're going to be going to some place that they love and doing something they love and doing something even better. Yes. And okay, so yeah, that is a very American thing to do because so much of us are working class, so much of us are blue collar, and a lot of us, way back in the day, relied on community. And so you kind of touch base with people in your community to make sure that they're doing okay because later on you might need to talk to somebody in your community about getting a need taken care of. So yeah, that's a normal thing for us. And usually it's "Oh, I'm doing fine, thanks." Is honestly that's all we're expecting. And also like if we're stuck like in a line, especially if we're stuck in a line, if we're stuck in an area, after a while you do start kind of talking to each other. Or if you get the vibe that people are like willing to talk, you'll chat, and it's all base level chat, and you're passing the time, and you're making a quick connection with a community member, and then you go your separate ways when you go your separate ways, and it's not like, "Oh my god, we have to exchange numbers." No, no, we're making small talk. I swear to you, it's just, "Hey, how you doing? Oh yeah, what about this weather? Oh yeah, oh yeah, did you see the game last night? Oh no, sorry, I don't watch sports." It's super. It's it's politeness because that's what we've been taught. It's friendliness because that's what we've been taught. And we're not looking for your life story. We're just touching base, going, "Hey, you okay?" It's also kind of a way to make sure that the person you're standing next to isn't highly mentally ill. Because sometimes you get that 1,000 yard stare without recognizing you've got that 1,000 yard stare. And so people are like, "Oh shit, might go sideways. How you doing?" "Huh? Oh, I'm fine, thanks." "Okay, cool." And that's literally, we just want to know that the person isn't about to go. So yeah. Oh yeah, no. If they have a clipboard in their hand, oh yeah, no. Mm-mm, mm-mm. If they're dressed religiously, oh no, 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 no. But yeah, for the most part, if people say hey, they're pretty much just saying hey. And if they compliment you, you know, those are a little bit more rare. But if they compliment you, it tends to be just a compliment. Now I'm not talking about catcall. I'm just talking about a regular compliment because there are times you walk by and you're just like, "Wow, that's an awesome dress," or "Hey, those are really cool clothes," because we do fashion here. So yeah, it's base level stuff. It's normal stuff. Up there, they took it to like the next level. Like they wanted to sit and chat, and you're like, "Okay, I'm gonna give you my base level read." Yeah, no, I'm from California, just visiting." "Oh, okay, cool. So what? Blah blah." And you're like, smoke bomb disappear. So yeah, like it's funny. They're very comfortable up there, and yeah, I think there was quite a few more. And I'm not even saying this is a dispersion. They had, I believe, more hippie or more commune style communities up there. So yeah, people are used to being very interactive and engaged, even with strangers. Um, when you're like deep in the city and you're just like regular, people dressed for work kind of thing, you know, about Los Angeles level of interaction. But like, yeah, when you go to like a farmer's market, because they're so chill, they're so chill up there. When you go to like a farmer's market or even an antique store or someplace where it's a little bit more just chill and relaxed, yeah, they talk to you a bit more. But I loved it up there, and it was really nice, and it was really fun, and I really, really, really enjoyed it. So I honestly can't be mad. And if I was going to move someplace, I'd like to move someplace like that because it was so refreshing. And honestly, I felt far more invigorated coming back from that didn't go there. I felt so much more invigorated coming back from that vacation than I had pretty much any other time. So yeah, loved it up there. Loved it in Washington. Thought it was spectacular. Okay, now I've got to try and find a pencil sharpener, which Lord knows where I keep putting the dang things. So I can lose a pencil sharpener like nobody's business. Ooh, is that my other one? Okay. I say, oh, hey, I should ask you, since you're English, like, what's some of the things that Americans do that you just find odd? Because I know that there are certain things that the British do that we find odd here, but it's not necessarily like odd in a bad way. We're just not sure as to why you're doing them, or like, have we offended you, or like that kind of thing. Hey, I've got my art supplies in so many different places. I need to recentralize. Okay. Actually, we don't usually have electric kettles because we don't do tea as a daily routine. Um, we just got an electric kettle about a month or so ago here, and oh my god, that is so much simpler. It's so much faster and so much better than I could have ever imagined. I was like, usually if we needed water heated up, we'd throw it into a big mug like this and heat it up, and then go from there. An electric kettle, so much easier. I I bemoan the fact that I didn't have one sooner. Like, how did I not know about this gloriousness that was an electric kettle? Oh my god. I love it. I absolutely love it. Honestly, the electric kettle that we have, I think it takes about 5 minutes or less. It's super fast. Um, but yeah, it was one of those things where, again, it's kind of how our country works. There's a lot of rural areas, and we do coffee um, for a number of reasons. We do a lot of coffee, but you do coffee in the morning. You don't tend to uh, have coffee after noon. Like you do coffee like between 5 a.m. to about 9 or 10 a.m. You don't drink it after that because you'll be up all night and then you'll be tired for work the next day. Blah blah blah. So we didn't know exactly what to do with tea, and it's not until like uh, more recently in the last couple of years that we've really started to invest in tea and doing tea. And I am so happy that we are doing tea because tea is amazing. Tea is good. And yeah, I mean we have some regular shit brand teas because you know reasons. But we also have some like we know more specialty places now, and those specialty places are usually smaller mom and pops, and we will frequent them. We're just still learning and getting our feet under us about, like what tea is and when can we drink it and what is appropriate and what makes it good. Dude, 2 minutes? I I don't need tea so bad that I need to have it in 2 minutes or less. Know what I mean? Yeah, ours takes a little bit longer, but I'm okay with it. I think you're right too. Is your your voltage is higher over there. We need adapters. Um, when you're American and you go to England and the UK, or I think any part of Europe, honestly, we have to have adapters for the tech that we take over there. Because if not, your plugs are shaped really weird. Okay, like, what in Hellraiser were you people thinking when you came up with that shit? But yeah, our tech takes a little bit longer, but I think our tech might also be a little bit more durable because we aren't flooding it with a metric shit ton of electricity, and I believe our electricity is slightly more survivable. Which, yeah, I'm just saying. I'm just saying. True enough. Well, I think we have those plugs over here as well, but they are strictly only for high electricity outlets. So you will find them in industrial areas and in convention center type things, but you would never find them in a home because no home appliance uses that much electricity. Although I'm sure that our refrigerators could do with an upgrade, but I'm just saying. But yeah. But of course, also we have very stupid people over here who will lick and or stick things in sockets. So I think the slightly smaller, narrower access points were also a safety concern because of stupid people. And I will admit, we have very, very stupid people over here sometimes. I didn't know that. We're now getting smart and putting shifting plates that are made from plastic. So, like, you actually have to, move the plastic over with the tines before you can plug it in. I like those. I like those a lot because, yeah, you don't want a child to think that they can just poke things in there willy-nilly, and those plates are at least a deterrent. Because, yeah, it's usually children that are doing silly, silly, silly things. And then that's the emergency room visit that you're like, well, little Timmy decided to lick the fuse box and found out that, yes, he can be lit up like a Christmas tree. What can we say? Americans we're a little bit special sometimes. We really are. We really are. We don't mean to be, we just end up that way, okay? Oh my god, trust me, I'm there with you. But for the longest time, we only used trains to, like, really transport goods for, like, cross-country. Oh my god, uncreative! How are you doing, dear? But yeah, like, only more recently have we really started using trains for person transportation. And we wish that our government wouldn't be a bunch of absolute dipshits, because we would love to have a maglev bullet train. Like, love to have a maglev bullet train, because, hello, so much faster, so much efficient, and you'd be able to go to, like, San Francisco for a day trip instead of having to drive there, which can take 9-10 hours quite easily. Hello. I hear you. I think we're all just managing at this point. And honestly, that is all you can ask for sometimes. The car companies keep pushing them aside, and lobbyists for those companies keep trying to push them aside, or put them under and whatnot. Which is just such a pain in the ass, because honestly, you could save so much emissions and gas and whatnot by being able to take the train to far destinations, because you could fit several hundred people on a train, whereas you can only fit maybe about 4 people in a car. And the maglev, I mean, there's really good technology out there for how to power it. So, like, we could be doing so many things, and yet we aren't, and it is irritating. Yeah, I honestly wish that they were outlawed. I wish that they had zero power in our economy and how the government was run. Because honestly, they make me want to punch something in the throat. They do not, they don't, they don't belong there because they are literally only for the interest of their company overlords, and I find it annoying as fuck because they are blocking actual progress. Exactly. Abso-freaking-lutely. And that's my whole thing. It's like they should not exist in the capacity that they do because the capacity that they exist in is not for the benefit of the people. It is strictly for the pocketbooks of the exceedingly rich. And that is a problem because that's how the lower and middle classes are kept suppressed. If you want to see a society that works well and that is prosperous and stable and can weather the storm, you need a strong middle class. You need a healthy, at the very least, a healthy lower class or blue collar. And if you don't have healthy people, and you don't have people who, you know, can hop on a train instead of having to take a car. Like, you hop on a train, you lower the chances of people being in accidents, and you can lower emissions, and you've got money that is then flowing back to the government because they're usually at public works. But also you have people who are learning to be responsible for the actions that they take and for the resources that they use. And honestly, I would love, 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 love to be able to rent like a little car or a little room on a train and take, a 4-hour trip up to San Francisco, do what I want to do for the day, and then, come back down at the end of the day, another 4 hours. Give me a little sleeping car. What? It cost me $100 for, 50 up and 50 back? I'm okay with that. It would have cost me more money to get on a plane, and it would have cost me probably more money to drive. Plus, I'd have to drive, and that's tiring. It'd be twice the time. I'd have to find a hotel up there because there's really no way to do it as a day trip from where I am. Like seriously. We've boycotted a lot of things. We've boycotted a lot of things. But yeah, like that was probably a northern um, instance. But yeah, like we boycotted a lot of things, and that's the whole thing is when people have money and they have time and they have security, they are actually far less likely to put up with stupid bullshit, and they are more likely to tell their overlords where to go stick it when said overlords are being buttholes. But, because of lobbyists and because of big corporations, I think the poor and middle class have lost a lot of those abilities because we're not being paid hardly enough. We have no security, and shit's a little bit sideways down here sometimes. And yeah, it's like one small drop can honestly lead to much bigger things. And it could be something as simple as public transportation. And yeah, I think it was, I want to say it was slavery in not just the southern states, but we had some other holdings, I want to say in the Caribbean, where they were growing a shit ton, or maybe it was Haiti. We were growing a shit ton of sugar, but it was almost exclusively processed by slaves. And that didn't sit well with some people. And so when those people said, "Hey, dude, yeah, can you not with the slavery thing?" And they went, "Yeah, well, if you don't like it, too bad. We're either going to charge you more for sugar, or you're not going to get sugar at all. How do you like that?" And they went, "We call your bluff." And they boycotted sugar and just stopped using it and found alternative sweeteners like fruit juices and honey and any other number of things. Or they just started creating more savory dishes. And sugar plantations saw this big dip in demand, and they're like, "Oh, we screwed up. We screwed up bad." Because sugar cane does not like grow in just anywhere. It's actually a rather temperamental plant. So yeah. The one thing you never want to do when it comes to Americans is truly challenge us. Don't challenge us as a people, because if you piss us off, we'll take it to the nth degree. Not necessarily in violence or anything, but we will take our upset to the nth degree and go, "Oh, you want to be a dick? Okay, fine. Let's do this. Let's do." How petty, how ticky tacky can we get? How much trouble can we cause? How uncomfortable can we make your position? And yeah, we're good at it. Honestly, we are, but we're even better at it when we're organized. And I think that's what terrifies our government, or at least certain people in our government, is when we really get our heads into it. The American civilian, the American people, are epic level trolls and epic level protesters. Like, we know how to do our shit. We know how to do it really, really well. And we are willing to take it to that level. But they broke us of a lot of those habits. Hence the reason it has been so hard to get some frickin' traction going on around here. To get people to get their butts where they need to be, as far as protesting, as far as boycotting, and whatnot. We've been beaten into a semblance of submission. And it's taking us a while to get our steam back up, but it's getting there. It is getting there. So, moving you back just a little bit. I am, I think, very happy with this. Mm-hmm. Well, not only are we getting support from the French to be more active when it comes to processing, we're getting support from Hong Kong, and Hong Kong is teaching us how to protest all over again. And they're teaching us how to combat brutality all over again. They taught us how to like put out tear gas and shield making and like how to slow down advancing forces. And it's like we are rooting them on. Like, we are Americans. We know that we have a bit more rowdiness, and we can be a bit more aggressive. So we are the cheerleaders, and now they're teaching us how to be the protesters that we were meant to be. So it's wonderful that we have the ability to like speak out against their government, because they're honestly not allowed to. And that's why we're getting loud. We're like, we get that you can't say anything. That doesn't apply to us, so we're going to be extra loud for you. Like, like, when I play Overwatch, like, there's a good amount of times where people are like, free Hong Kong, like, talking shit about the Chinese government, which is something that most Chinese can't do. And when Blizzard, oh, that was a stupid move on their part. When Blizzard took down, or took back a trophy, and basically sort of harassed a Blizzard gamer who had won a tournament, and they're like, oh, no, we're going to take this back. And then Twitch took down their stream. Oh my god, you want to talk about light a cat on fire. The American public is like, oh, the hell no you don't. A, they are entertaining. B, all they said was like free Hong Kong or something like, oh yeah, I support the protesters. Like, it was something super simple. And they got, you're going to try and take their money? No! Like, we went in full tilt. Like, we letter write, emails, campaigned, straight up, like, on all of our, on a lot of our streams and whatnot at the time. We were like, hey, yeah, by the way, I stand with this person, and if you think of defunding him, it's okay. Well, guess what? I'm going to be twice as loud. In fact, I'm going to be 30 times, like, we went, like, full in, because we knew that this one person didn't have that amount of freedom they couldn't do for themselves, so we were going to help out and do for them. For some reason, it's hard for the American public to help themselves. It's much easier for the American public to help people in other countries. I don't know if that makes sense, but yeah, we're weird like that. Mm-hmm. Well, it's not even, like, it even goes back before the UK, but yeah, like, our class system, which comes off looking a lot like a race system, it's not about, I have to explain this one really, really carefully. It's not about race, like, perfectly. We see race as class. And because one particular race wants to feel like they are upper class, that means they are willing to relegate anybody who does not fit and who does not blend in and conform as lower class. And that's the mindset, if that makes sense. So, yeah, like, I am light-skinned, meaning I can access certain privileges that people who are darker than myself cannot. Because the darker you are, the lower your station is perceived quite often, and it's a pain in the ass. And the lighter you are, the higher your station is perceived. even if somebody who is very dark and considered to be from here makes it up to here, not here, but here, it's weird that they try and point at that as, oh, see, you can do it, you just need to try harder. No. The exception is not the rule. And the rule has to let, in theory, has to let at least a few people from here to here to maintain its legitimacy. Because if you didn't maintain that legitimacy, people would see the system for what it was and break it. And just go, you know what, screw this, we need to scrap the whole thing, start over. So yeah, I mean, it's very in particular. To say the least. Yes. Yeah. It's weird to see how corporations shift their positions now and again. Anyways, I have to get going. I got some adulting to do. Yay! Hopefully I'll make it on tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock when I expect to be. And if something happens, I'll try and let you guys know what's going on. So, sorry about not being able to do that sooner. Oh my god. You know what? Oh my god. Think of a couple more subjects like that. I would love to go on a rant tomorrow. That sounds like an amazing thing to do tomorrow. Oh my god. Right? Oh my god. Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I'm with you. I'm with you. Okay. Peace out. I will see you hopefully tomorrow at 10 a.m. when I am normally should be on. Thank you. I love a good rant. I love a good talk like this. This makes me happy. Okay, you are awesome. And tomorrow I will throw on Nightbot so we can also have some music going on. And it is totally cool if it is the kind that I will have to turn off YouTube and Facebook and everybody else. But we will have a good jam session tomorrow and a good rant session hopefully as well. Later.